All right, so I'm Derek at DF Media Productions. I'm your host today for Look Magazine. Welcome, Haviah and Omega. Omega. My apologies. Today we have the Mighty Sisters. I don't know if you guys go by that, but that's what we are kind of branding this interview. So I'm Derek, DF Media Productions. Really glad to be here with both of you. Before we get in, I know we've been here for a while. We want to kind of bring the energy back. I have a surprise for you, and I'm really excited to share the surprise for you. So I'm not going to say anything. We're just going to play it. Let's go.
I can't think straight, but not homophobic. There's a bomb I'm going to poke it. There a squad, let it off. I'm so explosive. Now I'm all the way up like I'm stoned and coke. I can't stop like a locomotive. Won't stop like the young gun. Saying that my time's done, yeah. I'm so corrosive, see it red like my homie. Oh, it's on the blood that you shed. What I do to your spleen. You should know I'm devoted. Say, bro, I'm a vet. You can't euthanize me. And my folks are heroic, so let me explain. Kevin, harder than Ness. Best in my lane, you won't start to respect. Haviah the queen. Who you trying to be? I'm top 5 of my league.
I was literally spitting with my whole chest out.
Listen.
What year was that?
This is 2016
Yeah.
summer. Anyways, that's the first time I ever seen you on stage anytime. So that's when I saw you with Lon McQuaid. I was like, I know you.
That's
I know you. Right?
That's
So-
actually incredible.
It is.
What a
It's
memory.
like full circle.
Yeah.
So I shot this event, and you were like the opening act,
Oh, right.
right?
Okay,
For
yes.
Big Ticket 2016
yes,
with
yes.
Gab and I
Yeah,
forget
Chris
the other.
Rocks.
Yeah, Chris Rocks and all those guys. What an amazing experience that was. I tell you, because I shot that video for them and led on to other things for me. But your performance stuck with me way back when. So that's when I met you in person. I was like, wait a minute, I know you. It's really like what do you call a real core, hardcore hip hop event, right?
It was.
Really, really hardcore. And the 3 women starting out that night, you came out and you really got the crowd going. I mean, I have to kind of give you your props from even being in that because it was a tough crowd to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you held your own.
I
And
don't even
to
think
see,
I don't even think I processed that like at the time.
yeah,
I was just like, okay, like we're doing this thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like the funny thing is that if people see that performance and see you now, they may be saying different words, but the energy and the performance was there.
Consistent.
Very,
Yeah.
very. So I'm very glad to be here again with you and to talk to you about what you're doing and Omega. It's very much a pleasure to meet you. So I'm just going to get right into my questions here. So you started, so both of you are you guys a group now? Are you independent artists? Tell
No,
me.
we're independent artists.
You're independent
but
artists.
We're family, so
You're a family.
yeah.
So you recently both performed together recently on the Molson Theater, Molson Amphitheater. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Budweiser
Right?
Stadium. now, I
Budweiser
think.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Did they change the name? Or
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
probably showing my age here. Excuse me. Anyway, so how was your experiencing? Was it opening for the Arkells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
They're a
me,
pretty big group, right?
Yeah, the Arkells, I'd say they're, somewhat of like a household name here in Canada. They definitely represent for like live music within Canada, and they're dope guys. We connected with them last year. I worked with them and actually brought my sister out for a couple of shows we did last year. So
Right.
it just felt like full circle
Yeah.
to kind of to bring Omega back with me on the Budweiser stage. And at the time, she had a release that, for me, like my live set is all about kind of like the transitions, the flow, the seamlessness. And she had just released a song that was the same tempo as a song that I knew I was going to do that she features on. And it was just
Right.
like, okay, like we got to bring the dancers out. We got to like do the
Yes.
blend. I want to do an outfit change. This is the perfect like moment for that.
Yes.
So for me, I feel like it was just like pulling out all the stops and trying a lot of things.
Yes.
On a big stage for the first time. There was over 10,000
Was that
people.
song you guys did Wishy Washy?
Wishy Washy's the song that she features on, yeah, but
Yeah.
she
Okay.
has her own track called Wine Master.
Right,
It's the
which I
same-
seen. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fire, same vibes, but like a little turn up,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And we wanted to bring the dancers out, so it just, and I wanted to do an outfit change, so it was just like, this is perfect.
Right.
And we work really well together on stage. She's definitely my biggest live performer inspiration.
Aw.
I remember the days when Omega would be I remember the days when we was getting the live performances and she would bring me out to do a verse.
Right.
And I would come out and I'd be all shy and I would just kind of hold very little space and just do my little rap. And, you know, it's just really cool to be able to kind of like get opportunities to perform and bring her back. And like, now we're at the same level.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
with
Like,
your
now it's
sister,
equal.
Who's older, if you don't mind me asking?
You guess first.
I was gonna say, who do you
I
think?
was going to guess you were the older
Why?
one, and I don't know.
Why? I just curious.
Hey, I don't know why.
Well,
I'm
I
just-
love that you first of all recognize that we're different people. Cause
Right.
I normally, when I'm at shows with Haviah, even though we play together and there's two bodies on stage, anytime I'm in the audience, they always think I'm her. So
Right. Well, that's what because like when I'm looking at, I'm like, how can you tell them apart sometimes? Because it's
yo.
you guys have very similar. It's only when you're together where I can see,
That you
okay,
can see the
yeah,
difference,
there's a
yeah.
difference, right?
So
But-
I'll clear the air and say that we aren't technically twins, but we might as well be. We're 2.5 years apart. And
Right.
Oh, I said 1.5, my bad. Earlier, I said,
Yeah.
girl,
I don't even remember.
2.5.
Right.
2.5 months?
Years.
Oh, years. Okay.
That would be great.
I was about to say yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 years, and technically, yes, I am the older one. So I'm
Right.
just clearing it up. I know,
Right.
but I did see some press out there that said I'm the younger one, and I take it. So thank you.
Right. Right. Like, but it all depending on how you. I was gonna when I came here. I actually was talking to producers. I was like, Haviah is the older one. But now that I'm seeing you, you just have a more mature presence about you when you're in person.
Yes.
But you definitely look younger. I was like, the moves that you're doing, and I was like, is she your younger sister? Because you can move, girl.
Thank you.
Let's talk about you for a little bit, because you have your own accolades, right?
Yeah.
This is not just about Haviah here. It's about both of you, right?
Okay,
No
cool.
pun intended, right? But I I have some notes here on you that you are a musician, singer, songwriter,
Yeah.
right? Makeup artist I hear you have a well-established makeup business. Talk about that.
I do, yeah. So I've been in the bridal beauty business for about 8
Okay.
years now. And really, I found my landing in that as an artist because at the time when I was doing photo shoots, I had a really tough time finding artists that could understand my skin and finding
Right.
products, like understanding the education behind it. So
Right.
I started doing makeup on myself so I could figure out how to look like Sierra. It was this one video I came across with her and Young Jeezy, and I was like, something is crazy because she looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta learn how to bring this dimension into the face. So that was
Right.
really what kicked it off for me. And it kind of spiraled because there were so many other women that looked like me that were really trying to figure out how to achieve
How
the
to
same
do it.
thing.
Right. Right.
So that's how I fell into it. And
Did you do your own YouTube videos as well?
Yeah, I
too?
did. I was, I was doing
Awesome.
YouTube, and as I started to really get immersed into the business, it started to take away from being able to create content because you're
Yeah.
so active in the field.
Right.
So by the time you're on your feet 6, 7, 8 hours, you don't have time to create content. So
Right.
that has been one of the biggest challenges. But having said that, I definitely, whenever I'm able to be there for Haviah, I'm always doing her makeup. So,
Yes.
I'm blessed.
It must be nice to have your own
It's-
personal stylist.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and then like I will say like the skin game is always on point. I always worry about working with new makeup artists for that reason, and I can't transcribe what's required. Like I don't know like the foundation shade that we, so to have somebody that knows like pretty, like you know what I mean. Like I'm very confident that I'm gonna get like
I want
9
to
times out
say,
of 10 what I'm looking for.
I don't know which album or which project you're working on, but because I follow you, right, on Instagram. I think it was like 2 years ago before COVID, you did a project, and like, I'm telling you, like, your style was just on fleek. Like,
gotta
you
be
had
13th
like
floor, huh?
just everything. Like, one thing I wanted to ask you about your style, okay? And people may not have clued in on this, but I can see you were very influenced by the Rastafarian culture, right? I too grew up in that culture as well. So I wanted to ask you, how does that influence your work, and not only how does that influence what you do as well? Because I see you're also having that flair too as well. So how does that growing up in the community? Did you guys grow up? Because I've seen a video that you have with your dad, and you took the necklace and you kind of threw it down.
Yeah.
It
was disrespectful. It was,
But I
was
know you did that
was
acting. No,
Yeah, I
totally,
would never
totally.
actually. I would get boxed off the
Oh,
face of the
for
world.
sure.
That
For
would never actually
sure.
fly in real life.
Yeah,
But
no, I know
he was
that.
down for the role. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
you're one movie star pops. You
Yes.
know? But for me, I would say that it isn't like my Caribbean influence. We grew up in a Jamaican household. My dad is Jamaican. My mom is Bajan.
Don't say my mom and
Sorry,
my
our. I was just like, wait.
Don't do
That sounded incorrect. Our parents are Caribbean. Our dad is Jamaican. Our mom is Bayesian. And so definitely fully immersed in that musically and inspirationally.
I see the red, green, and gold.
Absolutely, like my
a lot
dad,
of
100%.
the African symbolisms in
the
there.
whole car, his truck, everything is like adorned in. This is
Absolutely.
where this is where I'm coming from, and this is what I
Right.
represent.
Right.
So it's definitely a big part of where, like, how we grew up. But I would say for my music, it's a bit harder to actually understand like my cultural background because I feel like a lot of people might mistake me for like an American. Like I'm very immersed in like the hip hop world, and I do have a lot of Caribbean influence. But I think based on the way I grew up, you might expect it to look a little different. Like I think Omega definitely kind of more so pulls out that kind of cultural upbringing that we had in the house. Like I think that's more a part of the sound I think that you kind of come with. Whereas I think for me, it's a little bit more like a little bit further removed from just kind of the upbringing.
Right.
within the home.
I want to say that just for me being a fan and understanding the culture and seeing how you are sprinkling it throughout your style and through your content, I feel that you're definitely what I like about what you do is that yes, you're black, a black female, a hip hop artist, but you're also showing the Caribbean aspects in it, which I love, you know, and you're sprinkling a little bit of that Jamaican culture into it, which I was having a conversation with the producers and I was like, what I see that you're doing, you remind me of Lauryn Hill when she was first starting out. Like there's a lot of similarities with what you're doing. And I'm not saying that just because I really, you're well, reading your accolades, see that you started producing from when you were 15 years old. Is that the reason why the whole job at Lana McQuaid was kind of like a key thing for you?
Yeah. It was
a strategic move, right?
It was a strategic move. I was either gonna do fitness. I actually got hired at Good Life, and then like the day before I was gonna start my job, I got the Lana McQuaid call. Like, you want to just come in for an interview? Like, no stress. And it was just like, which way is my life gonna go? So. Yeah.
And you really helped me out, by the way. I can't remember
appreciate
what it is I was going there, but
I
you
value
knew exactly
customer service.
what it was. Haviah was like, hey, she needs here, and totally helped me out. Customer service.
I would know the product. I know the price down to the $0.99. You know, I valued that when I was there.
Yes, when you were there.
But the Caribbean influence, like I think naturally, even though sometimes I don't even realize that it's coming out in what I do because I don't feel like I'm purporting it even as much as I am. But it is a part of me. It's how I grew up.
I noticed it, and I see more than like a lot more than a lot of the other Canadian rappers who are also from the Caribbean and whatever. I like how you take it and you own it. You know what I mean? Because like, for example, like your hair, right? You've had this hairstyle from day one.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have changed it, right? I mean, I think that's a part of you, and I don't know, maybe you may decide that you want to change it, but I doubt you probably won't do that, right?
I mean, as of right now, I feel like it's a big representation of who I am. And I feel like you probably feel similar. I think.
Yeah, and I think that with where we are today, I think you and I can both agree that there's so many instances we both have come across where it was almost mandated that it be changed if we wanted to become these superstars. And
that's what I love, the fact that you have done it despite all of those pressures, because I know they exist, even though now it's more accepting. Yeah. You know, I don't want to get too much into it, but
you know,
still major
like
setback.
If you think about artists, like you can think about Chloe and Halle, like who else really rocks dreads on a daily basis, you know? And they are the two other sisters. We love them very much. So yeah, we get compared to them a lot. We love it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I think it's you know, locks have become really popular now, but definitely more among, you know, the male rappers and whatnot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Let's moving off that topic and going into some more things here. So let's talk about, you recently also had the opportunity to do the tribute at the Juno Awards for the 30th year anniversary of the Hip Hop Award. Did I say that correctly?
Something like that. It was a tribute to hip hop as part of the last Junos.
Yeah.
The 150th. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel to go on stage amongst like our godfather of hip hop, which is Maestro Fresh West, our queen of hip hop, Mishimi, and I'm very proud to say that I lived in the neighborhood of Maestro in Scarborough, right? So, long story short, like for them to even ask you to do that, I believe was a great honor, and it shows that Canada, on a whole, appreciates your music, appreciates you. So, how was that experience for you?
I mean, I think you summed it up better than I can. It was definitely honorable to be considered.
Right.
I think, I try to make music that allows me to open the types of doors that are like that. I feel like what I'm doing is what's guiding me there, but at the same time, there's so many incredible musicians that make great music that don't end up there.
Right.
And so to be the person that is asked, and like, again, that presentation was inclusive of Mishi Me, Maestro Fresh West, Nav, Cardinal, and then you have me. Obviously, I was representative, kind of like a representation for the future. So to be recognized in that light, and that was what they asked for. They're like, we see you in that role, and we want you to like take these 30 seconds and speak to what you think that means. I think that speaks highly of where I could go, what my future could hold, like where hip hop could shift in this country as well, and how the people that will occupy those spaces will look a little different than the people that have occupied those spaces, or even the fact that those spaces have been kind of like small stages here in this country. So hopefully magnifying those spaces, and then
and those opportunities,
opening up to the people that like can occupy it rather than like the boxes we think need to be ticked. Like
exactly,
so just representing hopefully like the change. Everything that you're saying before, even about our hair, it's just just not conforming to like the standards that have been preset by who, like who, who even set this construct. And so just by existing, I think we're trying to break that. And so I'm grateful to have been brought on by the Junos team for that, because I think it kind of speaks to
for me it solidified what I kind of already felt inside, that you are the future. So how does that make you feel to see that your audience has like reached way past Canada, it's going into international, and how does that make you feel?
Honestly, like I think sometimes it's not possible to fully fathom what's happening.
Right.
You're in the moment, but I think the way that it looks is very different than how it feels. Because I still feel very normal. I still go to the grocery store and my sweatpants, and like I'm still like things are changing. I went from like a Honda Civic to a Jeep. We leveled up a little bit in some ways.
Are people recognizing you on the streets more than they did before?
Yeah, definitely yes, but like also not everywhere I go. Like it's not like I need security.
Not yet.
I don't know if that's true, because I'm having a tough time. They think I'm her. I pull up at Starbucks, I go places, and they literally are like, "So you rap, huh?" And I'm like, "Can I just get a caramel macchiato?"
Well, and this is the thing, right? Like, it's definitely very endearing and amazing to be in that place. But like, I think for me, I try to remain really humble. I don't want to get wrapped up in the idea that kind of the energy that I'm getting today is based on like the fact that I'm something sovereign. Like it's because you're doing cool things. And what that requires is a consistency and a maintenance. And so it keeps me humble, because I also know like audiences are fickle. And you can lose people with saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. I mean, I think I learned through creating music that like we said before, like I feel like my and yours too, our existence is inherently political, just by being Black women in Canada that occupy certain spaces. Like, like I might get down on both feet and I'm rapping, and then like she'll do it with like the dance hall, like but it's the same kind of like dominant occupying space energy. And then like we're small Black women that otherwise would kind of be like pushed into a corner. So
that's the whole why I'm referencing you with Lauryn Hill, because it's like Lauryn was just a small being, and look what she became.
Which she did.
You know what I mean?
She's a force, and that's the best word to use. And also, I would say that her music, the one iconic album, did change the world. And so it's very possible. I think before I used to have this construct of like, well, heart surgeons change lives. Like musicians make me. But then you learn from the testimonials of the people that are connecting with your work, that you are doing that by existing. And I learned that through the process of creating the 13th Floor Project. I think that's the one you were referencing prior. And so like now, like everything that I do in the back of my mind, like no matter what, I'm always trying to connect. But I'm always trying to leave impact through that connection as well. Even if the song is about like just drinking alcohol and chilling with your friends, still there's gonna be some kind of mantra in there that you can like hopefully
even
gauge something from or learn something from.
I love how you are creative with your work. So it's not only that you're an amazing lyricist, which we proved that since 2016. Like you're layering it on now with art direction and style and like even your attire. Like first of all, you guys are very beautiful.
Thank you,
ladies, and your style is amazing. And I'm just like how you kind of mix it all up. It's very what I would say Haviah, because there's no. You don't find it anywhere else.
That's what we're trying to do.
You know what I mean? You have your own style.
Haviah doesn't exist, and that's the importance. I think the message that we could send
Yeah.
to every artist, like there isn't another you. So trying to replicate someone else wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Couldn't make sense.
Right.
I think that we all draw inspirations from people, and I think that's really amazing and important. But it's important to really be yourself. And I think any director that works with Haviah, they're aware of her mandate. They're aware of her work.
Right.
So naturally, she attracts the people that deserve to work with her. Right. And are really interested in carrying through that message, regardless of whether or not they are Black or an ally. And that's what's really amazing about what Haviah is doing, and I'm so excited about that.
Well,
yeah.
I'm.
Not to mention, sorry, I just have to say the makeup looks in that music video, all the switch ups, like that's very Missy and like.
Facts.
Well, I was like,
I'm
damn,
getting
you
into
were
that. I'm
fast.
getting into that. So I'm like, so wishy-washy.
Yes.
Right? Because that is
It's a bop.
It is more than a bop. That is like a hot track right there.
It's a bop.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Behind the cameraman said,
Yeah.
"Pop."
Listen. That track. First of all, I love the whole storyline behind it. Right? You said this. What was it? Wine. Sorry, wine.
Wine master.
Wine master. This way, right? And I was like, Kuya. No, I loved it. I loved it. I love the whole storyline to it, and then the let's talk about some of the art direction and especially the choreograph. The dancing on that is like next
so
level.
for Wine Master, that video.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, in the barn, right? Like, it was just really this time around. I was like, I usually choreograph all my own stuff. This time around, I was like, I want to bring someone in really special. I was connected to a talented choreographer from the city. I was taking some of her classes. Her name is Jonah Abrams.
Okay.
And she's just like such a force, not only in the dance hall space, but overall. I appreciate her technique as a dancer. And yeah, she's really dope.
It's amazing. Totally.
So I hit her up. And at first, like, I couldn't hear back from her, and I was like, bro, I can't do this video without her. And the kicker about it was Wine Master originally didn't have a dance break. So I literally had to call back up my producer, who's the same producer that produced Wishy Washy, by the way. It's Taboo, it's our boy.
Synergy.
Exactly. And so I hit him up, and I was like, listen, I know we already cut the track. It was mixed and mastered, but I was like, I need a dance break. Can you do me like a 20-second something? Because I want to shoot this video. And things were crazy in the pandemic because everything had to be done like really weird. We were limited on numbers, and he was like, say bet. Turned it over to me like in a week's time, but I still hadn't heard back from the choreographer. So I reached out to her before I had, like, you understand, I reached out to her before I even knew what it was going to sound like.
Okay.
But in the way that my brain works, I just know who I'm going to work with. I just know who I'm going to work with, yeah. So literally DM'd her, no answer. Emailed her, no answer. I'm like, all right, I'm trying her on something else because she is going to do this video. Like, I just know she is. And then finally, I heard back from her maybe after like 2 weeks, and she was like, oh, I'm so glad you kept trying me. And she was so excited to work on the project. And so, yeah, she came up with this dance, and we're having a challenge right now. It's called the Mega Wine, or the Mega Wine, however you like to say it. But basically, she named it after me, and it's just a really majestic, sort of powerful wine. And then she built some choreography around that. And so we brought in some of the other dancers, and she really just made it a whole vibe. So
it was very, like, to me, I was like, I swear that you had like some of Spice's dancers, you know, like it was that level, you know what I mean?
I respect
really
that.
Good,
There's
really
so
good.
much talent in the city, and for those of you who don't know, like, I grew up as, anyone who knows me, I grew up as Dreddy. So that was always my dancer name. So back in the day, I was huge in dance hall, and it was just a vibe.
But you had your hair out. In that you had.
Oh,
in the video.
Oh, let me explain to you. So let me explain.
I was watching.
It's an optical
you did.
illusion.
It's an optical illusion. Let me. So I'm gonna explain. I was at my hairstylist, and shout out to Kim, by the way. Kim and Belly Lock. She killed that look.
Okay.
And
Shout out Kim.
I'm just gonna let you know, like, that might not be the final thing that you're gonna see.
Okay.
We have something else coming.
Okay.
Just letting you know. So,
that was the okay.
I'm just letting you know we might have something else in store.
Okay,
But what we did with that was it was really cool. We actually used some hair pieces.
Yeah.
So we used some kinky hair and just added it to the dreads.
Yeah,
So
to the dreads, yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah.
It did match the scene though,
It
because there
did,
was a
right?
lot of like little. But I was like, oh, like they fully went to the hair and.
Oh, we went.
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
I mean,
it was
I don't really have time to do anything half-assed. Do you?
It was really good. I want to first of all congratulate you on winning the Polaris Prize Award.
Thank you.
That is huge deal.
It is.
Your speech was so humbling. How do you maintain your humbleness? Has anybody ever asked you that?
You know, I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that question. That's a good question. I think it's like a good and a bad thing. Okay. So we all have insecurities, and I feel like my insecurities keep me humble. Because I just don't think that I can get complacent in thinking that I could settle or be stagnant and still have what I'm achieving. And in a way, that's also a good thing, because it also, like, it pushes me and it makes me feel confident enough to, like, keep doing stuff. But at the same time, yeah, I definitely think, like, being uncertain will always make me grind, like, even harder. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I seen you.
It's an interesting way to look at it, because, you know, I'm continuing to work on and grow that confidence, but my goal is to also never ever lose the work ethic and to keep pushing. But like, it keeps me humble.
Yeah.
Because I want to stay connected with regular folk. I want to be a regular person. I don't want to ever get it mixed up and think that by making music that makes you.
I think that's your biggest strength.
Yeah, it's not a pedestal, right?
And the reason why I say that, because you went on stage to talk about everybody who wasn't on that stage. Like, you won the award, but you're talking about all the artists who possibly could have and never got the opportunity. And you also talked about all of, first of all, you were blessed by just winning the award, and all of, you know, hearing all of the, you know, applause and all of that, right? I saw how you almost kind of broke down almost, but you went into this humble moment of, you know, saying how you're thankful for being here, but also appreciative of the moments that took you to get to this point. Right. And I really, really was like, to me, it's just like, that's to me shows your greatness, you know, because you could have taken that opportunity to be like, oh, thank you, you know, blah, 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 I'm the greatest, and then like everybody else does. But you kind of saw the bigger picture and didn't kind of make it about the me show when it was really about you, and you made it about everybody else. And that's why I was like, your humbleness is just like, you wear it on your sleeve.
I mean, I really do appreciate that. I do think that, like, as much as I did win that award, it isn't inherently a me show. And I feel like that maybe that's what keeps me humble, is that I know that in this world we exist. Like, I don't want to have main character syndrome, going through life thinking that everything is about me. I think as North Americans, we just have that problem as well. We just think that everything revolves around how we function and how we do things. And I think we're all kind of guilty of that. So, like, being in this position, being able to travel and explore and have the opportunities that I have reminds me time and time again that I'm lucky to be even doing what I'm doing. And so for me, I recognize that, first of all, to perform on that stage, that was the thing. It was like, we're going to kill this performance in this room of, you know, hundreds of, like, Canadian execs and people that like need to know folk, and they're gonna know what I do, and that was like, that was the win for me. So to win was like, oh, I didn't even process that could happen. But it was just like another moment of like, wow, like this is an insane accolade, and this is wonderful that I've achieved this. But now I've done this thing, so it's always like, okay, so
moving on, what's next?
Because you're just gonna get wrapped up in like, oh, like that's the girl that did that won the Polaris Prize 3 years ago, and it's just like, it's not. The value is momentary. So I was in that moment. I was floating on a cloud. It was wonderful to be acknowledged for an album that really talked about the Black experience and the female experience not being acknowledged, and that being the parallel of the 13th floor that doesn't exist but obviously exists. That was the whole premise. So to have that album recognized really also indicated like kind of like a bit of the shift that I'm hoping to see by writing this project, by creating this body of work. So that humbles me in itself, because I didn't think that that's the type of project that wins anything like that. That's the type of project that you put out and is risky, right? So that humbled me.
You made that risk, and it was
paid
huge
off.
payoff.
It was a huge payoff, and it humbled me. And then, you know, the money that came with that award is just another. To me, I'm also surrounded by people that humble me, and I think that also, you know, I'm a Sagittarius. I could go off the walls a little bit. I'm sure I could get lost if I didn't have this Virgo next to me, like, yo, chill. But I have the best people around me that keep me grounded as well, and they wouldn't let me get too wrapped up in. You know, so before the amazing moments have come, I've already had the stability, I already had the grounding, and I've already had the family that shows me real kind of compassionate love, and it's not rooted in the hoopla of what this industry is, and so I'm able to compartmentalize.
Does corporate want to work with you more because they see that work ethic in you? Do you find that you are finding opportunities through corporate execs because you can understand and break down the levels?
I mean, I would say like off of the strength of like the Polaris win, a lot of opportunities came my way that were more corporate, like the DoorDash gig that I did, or working with Holt Renfrew on a project.
I seen you, so anyways, the Apple, you recently had an Apple one?
ad,
the Apple ad. I'm like watching Atlanta online, and then here's Haviah coming up on my stream. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
it's
totally
another cool, I guess, acknowledgement, and I'm lucky enough over the last 2 years to have a lot of press for the music that I've been doing. Even in these difficult times, there's been a lot of entities still engaging, and I'm seeing now that with Omega putting out music that she's picking up some of that press as well. And I think it's just so cool to occupy this space and show people that like the things you expect to see in the music industry and the artists you expect to make it, like we can kind of shift that a little bit, because it needs to go back to being more about that talent, that originality, and also the message it sends when people take us in, taking our art, taking our photo shoots, taking our interviews. I want them to feel like, oh, this isn't something I've experienced before, and it's like, good.
Yes.
You need more of that.
Exactly. Yes. Awesome. Love it. So you guys have a song that you do together, which is Wishy Washy, right?
Yes.
Are there going to be any more songs that you guys are going to be doing together? Even though I know you guys are independent artists, are any plans for doing any more collaborations? Or
I think we'll never plan not to work together.
Okay.
Like, we always plan to work together. So whether you're going to see us on stage together, whether you're going to hear a song, we can't tell you exactly what the future holds, but we always plan to work together.
Awesome.
Always.